Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, The Hungry Gamer is back with another part of our How to Play Dawnshade video series. And today's video we will discuss how combat works. If you would like to check out any other parts of the series, you can look down in the description. You will find links to the other 4 videos in this series. There are a few ways that battles may happen. All of them come from the quest map, when you encounter a battle tile, or when you encounter your major threat tile. In either instance, you'll go to the logbook, and the logbook will tell you what the enemies you'll be facing are for that particular battle. In this case, I put out 2 random enemies so as not to give you any kind of a spoiler for the game itself. In addition, I have randomly leveled up Tollum Cloudbane and Ash Windstrider, which will be the 2 heroes that I use in this example. I've also given each of the heroes a single piece of gear. I've given the Dawnquake Thumper to Tollum, and I've given the Swift Spalder to Ash. And additionally, you'll note that I have unlocked all 3 of their ability dice. In order to find out what goes in the enemy's battle stacks, you simply take their chip and you turn it over, and you'll see that this enemy has 9 hit points and 3 shields. Whenever it rolls a special attack, it'll do its Flaming Arrow ability, and you find out what that does in the logbook. And then its ultimate ability is the Rapid Volley. And it will roll 4 attack dice and 1 defense die. And this Razorback Scout has 4 hit points, 2 shields. If it rolls a special, it does Marked Target, and its ultimate ability is Blunder Buster. And then it will roll 1 attack die and 3 defense dice. Then you place your cube on the 5, marking how many rounds of combat you have remaining. I also would like to point out now that according to the order they appear in the logbook, you place them on the marked locations on the enemy side. In this case, I have 1 and 2. Then you need to set your heroes out. And you set them out starting with the active player, which goes wherever you would like. You can place it wherever you want, but I place it right here. And then you go around. The next one would be Ash, which I will place right here. However, I will note that Ash has the Swift Spalder, which gives him 1 shield. So I would need to take a single shield and put it on the bottom of his battle stack. I also want to point out here that you have the option to use a Cog Behemoth if you have purchased one. And when you use the Cog Behemoth, you pass out parts of it to every player in the kinship. And if you flip it over, you'll see the bonuses that it gets for being piloted by your ally. You'll notice here that by piloting the right arm, Tollum here would gain an agility bonus of all the way up to max, so he would have 9 agility, and he would gain 3 shields beneath this chip. And you'll see, when destroyed, he causes slowed to the attacker and its 2 adjacent allies. And so you would take this, you would place 3 shields beneath it, and then you would place that below the last hit point chip before you are defeated, like so. This means when you get to here, the shields would come off the chip, and once the chip is defeated, then it explodes, it does its ability, and you continue on. It is important to note that in this instance, even if I took 6 whole damage, it would simply destroy the arm, and I would remain with 1 chip. The same thing happens if you have purchased a regular Cogbot. You get a bonus, which is listed on the back, and you would put it right below the last chip in your stack, which again would act as a bit of a shield for you. The last thing that you have to do is, for every one of the gray spaces that are occupied by an enemy, you take the same numbered chip and you drop it into the Dawnshade bag right here. Additionally, for every ally in your kinship, you take one of these pink and green chips and put it in the Dawnshade bag. After you've done that, you are ready to begin. You shake up your bag, and then for a 1 or 2 player game, you will draw out of the bag 1 chip per ally plus 1. So in this instance, I would draw 3 chips out of the bag. If you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, you would simply draw 1 chip per ally. So if you're playing a 3-player game, you draw 3 chips. If you're playing a 4-player game, you would draw 4 chips. Let's see how this works out. So I will reach into the bag and I'm drawing 3 chips because I'm playing a 2-player game. And as you draw them out, you will place them on the initiative stack, like so. In this case, you'll see that the active hero will be going first. That would be Tollem right here. So he would get to act first, and when he completes his action, he'll move his chip over there, and number 2 would be going next. If at any time the enemy on one of these numbers has been defeated, so let's say I had already defeated number 2, and the number 2 chip came up, you simply cycle on through until you get to the next enemy. So if there was a 3, 3 would go. Since there's not, we'd cycle all the way back through to 1. The way combat works is you start over here, you look at your agility. In this case, I have 5. So that means I can roll 5 dice of my choice. And my choices are, I have my attack dice, and my stat I can roll up to 3 attack dice. I can roll 3 defense dice and 2 devotion dice. So for this particular combat, I'm going to choose to roll 3 attack dice and then 2 defense dice. And then I'm going to roll. Now I'll note that with my attack, I can choose who I'm attacking after I've completed my roll. And so we will take a look here, and you'll see that I have rolled 2 attack hits. So what I will do is I'm picking my target, and I'm going to say I'm going to attack that one right there. And since I have 2 hits, I will take the bottom 2 chips off of its stack. Then you'll note right here, I have a special. So I go to my mat, and we'll see that I gain 1 Vaki to myself or to an ally. Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to give 1 Vaki to Ash over here. And I'm going to choose to give him a Mountain Vaki. The next thing you will note is that I have 1 die with nothing on it and 2 dice with nothing on it. That means my overdrive meter starts to power up. For every die that doesn't do anything, you start to power up your overdrive. I am now at 2. When you get all the way up to 6, the next time that you roll a special attack, you wind up doing what's on the bottom. In this case, I would have gained 3 Vaki distributed among any number of allies. Then you will also notice that I have this symbol here. This symbol notates a formation change. When there is a formation change, you will take the chip that comes very next in the initiative stack, you will remove it and place it to the side. Then you will go into the Dawnshade bag and you will draw the next chip and you place it on top of the stack, and then you take the other one and you drop it back into the Dawnshade bag. Then after you have used all of your dice, you place the chip that has just been used into the initiative discard. Then you see who is next. In this case, it is another of our heroes. So I would go to the next hero, which is Ash, and Ash would now get to take his turn in combat. I will also note that there are several items that can be used during combat. So if I had not rolled a formation change like I did, let's assume instead I had rolled this symbol here, that would mean instead of a formation change, I simply gained 1 shield, which would go onto the bottom, and no battle stack can ever have more than 3 shield chips in it at any given time. However, you will note that now the next 2 attacks are coming from the enemies, and Ash does not even get a chance to attack in this combat. That is where items can come into play. In this case, I can use my Dawnquake Thumper and place the remaining chips in the initiative stack back into the bag and redraw. I can discard that, drop those back in, shake them up, and draw 2 more. In this case, I wound up with the same result that I had with my formation change. Then I would continue through the rest of the combat. Let's assume over here that Ash is going to use 3 attack dice and 2 devotion dice for his 5 agility. I would roll my dice, and here you would see I have 2 misses, so his overdrive goes up to 2. I've done 4 damage, so I'm going to put all 4 over here, which would do 1, 2, 3, and 4, which would be enough to defeat the Razorback Scout. And then I have received 1 more Vaki. And so I'm going to use this to receive another Mountain Vaki there. And then that would be the end of Ash's turn. Then next we have the 2. The 2 is gone. There is nothing higher, so we would wrap all the way around back to 1 for the next attack. In this case, he's rolling 4 attack dice and 1 defense die. And you'll see that he received 1 shield, but he already has 3, so it gains nothing. 2 misses, 2 hits, and his special ability. In this case, that means that the Bowmaster gains precise, meaning it will ignore all of my shields the next time it attacks. And finally, you'll note that there is 2 damage to be dealt out. To determine who gets hit, you go to your targeting deck and you flip the top card. In this case, Ash would be hit for 2 damage, so I will take the bottom 2 off of his battle stack, being 1 shield and 1 health. And then I would move the chip to the other side. Next, I would move the round down, so we're down to 4 rounds remaining. I would take all of the chips and drop them back into the bag. And then we would do the same thing again for the next round. I would mix them up and I would draw 1, 2, 3. Also note that I would pass the active player over to Ash, so he would get to act first in this combat. The only other thing that I want to point out is how you use these dice here. If, let us assume, I had earned already the Tier 1 Baki, I would have the ability to activate my charge. To do so, I would pay the cost up here, which is 2 Mountain Baki and 1 Water Baki, and that would unlock this die here from my board. I would take the die off, and I would be able to roll it as one of the dice I'm rolling during this combat. What the booster die would do is it would do whatever damage I happen to roll on the die, potentially 4, and I would gain the accurate condition. So let's assume that I'm going to do that and then roll 4 attack dice. And here you will see I've done 5 damage to the foe here, which would remove 3 shields and 2 health from it. And I have 1, 2, 3 misses, which brings my overdrive up to 5. And then Ash would gain the accurate condition on top of his battle stack, like so. And then we would move on to the next, which is our enemy, number 1. It would get to go, and then it would get to go again before the round ends. And I will of course note that it will be rolling a defense die, so it may be regenerating its shields as it goes. The only other thing that I need to point out is what happens here when you get to 2 rounds remaining. You'll notice it says ultimate. And the way the ultimate attack works is when the very first foe activates during the round, it will automatically trigger its ability. In this case, the Bowmaster has rapid volley. And what this means is not only will the Bowmaster do damage to whoever the target is, but the target immediately after that as well. In this case, if damage was done, both of our heroes would have taken the hit. I will also say that should the Razorback still be present, it would not also get to do its ability. It's only the first foe that does an attack during the round. And it is also possible, if somehow there are no enemy chips drawn, there will be no ultimate attack taken during the round, as the enemies did not go at all. Finally, I do need to point out that if you do roll the special attack ability on the enemy die during the round when there is an ultimate, it does not trigger it again. After you have completed the final round of combat, if one side or the other has not been completely defeated during combat, then you have to see which side will retreat. And to do that, you simply count up how many health and shield chips each side has. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 on the hero side versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the enemy side. This means we have a foe retreat. And then you would go to the logbook and you would see what the rewards you get for a victory foe retreat happen to be. I will point out that you still do get some rewards if you are completely defeated or if you flee. And so there you have it, folks. That is the overview of how combat works in Dawnshade. The next video will take all the information from all 4 videos so far and bring it together to give you an overview of how a turn works in the game. Thank you so very much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.